White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy Stephen Miller and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem now live on military bases. They are among at least 6 senior Trump administration appointees to do so in the Washington area, leaving them both isolated from the Capitol they help govern and sheltered from political violence, but also protest. Joining us now, staff writer for The Atlantic, Tom Nichols, and staff writer for The Atlantic, Michael Schur. Michael, what's the deal with this?
Well, some of these people had moved on to bases months ago. Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, Pete Hegseth, the Defense Secretary, I think they just like the convenience of it. Some of this is because of concerns over security threats.
Welcome to Official Dr. John podcast. So this is happening right now. Over 40 senior White House aides, communications, legal, National Security Council, the people who actually run the government, fired or reassigned in a single night. Trump is calling it emptying the swamp. Everyone else is calling it the Wednesday night massacre. When historians start reaching for words like purge and drawing Nixon comparisons, you know the chaos has crossed into something that will be in the history books.
President Trump has fired all 6 members of the board that oversees major construction projects in D.C. The firings comes as the president is planning on multiple projects in the Capitol, including the White House ballroom and the Trump Triumphal Arch he wants to build across from the Lincoln Memorial. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is at the White House and joins me now to talk about it. Look, Donald Trump is a builder. That's how he made his bones in New York City. I guess the people who are construction, they fire construction crews all the time, or is this unusual, Natalie? What are you hearing?
Well, the timing of this news is certainly raising questions, but Vlad, it's actually not without precedent.
Let me set the scene because you need to understand how insane this actually is. The president has been in office for only a few months, and he is already drowning in crises. The Department of Homeland Security shutdown is an absolute nightmare. Airports are chaos. National security operations are running on fumes. Congress is actively talking about impeachment. And then, as if things were not bad enough, the Epstein files start circulating publicly. And apparently, Trump's name is all over them. Documents mentioning flights, connections, relationships, all the stuff that a president probably does not want floating around while lawmakers are drafting articles of impeachment. So instead of handling this with any kind of calmer strategy, instead of having a normal conversation with his staff about damage control, Trump goes nuclear. He starts posting on Truth Social in all caps about infestations and leakers and weaklings. It is like watching someone have a complete mental breakdown in real time, except that person controls the nuclear codes. Caroline Leavitt is gone. The press secretary, out. Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, practically Trump's right hand, she is getting reassigned. And these are not quiet exits where people slip out the back door and land softly somewhere else. People are talking. Insiders are saying Leavitt could not defend the indefensible after the Epstein stuff dropped. So she quit, she walked away. And that is huge because the press secretary is supposed to go down swinging for the president. That is literally the job description. Stand behind the podium and take the bullets. And Leavitt said, nope, I am out. I cannot stand in front of cameras and defend what is happening. That single decision tells you everything you need to know about how bad this situation has become. But here is where it gets truly wild. Trump is not just firing random people to blow off steam. He is specifically targeting the staffers who have been handling the Epstein documents, the DOJ liaison, the people reviewing the files, the ones with security clearances who have actually read what is in those documents. It is like he is trying to clean house of anyone who might know too much or might leak damaging information to Congress or the press. And the Democrats see this for exactly what it is: textbook obstruction, abuse of power. This is precisely the kind of behavior that impeachment was designed to address. You cannot fire people specifically to suppress evidence and prevent Congress from seeing documents. That is not how a constitutional democracy works. And the craziest part? All of this is happening while the government is literally shut down. People are not getting paid. National security operations are running at 30% capacity. The FAA is understaffed. TSA checkpoints are backed up for hours. And Trump's solution is to fire 40 more people. Create more chaos, more confusion, more operational paralysis. Are you kidding me? We are in the middle of an impeachment fight. We are in the middle of a shutdown crisis. We are in the middle of lawsuits and contempt orders from federal judges. And Trump's response to all of that is to blow up his own administration from the inside. That is not strategy. That is panic. That is a man in full crisis mode, swinging a sledgehammer at everyone around him because he is terrified of what is about to come out. Some people are calling it strongman tactics. Trump is cleaning house, taking out the disloyal people, establishing dominance, showing everyone who is boss. But that is not what this looks like. This looks like pure desperation. This looks like someone who knows that damaging information is about to become public and is willing to burn down his own administration to stop it. And the timing is absolutely brutal, because now you have a vacuum in the White House. 40 positions that need to be filled, communications chaos, legal chaos, NSC chaos. And while all of that is happening, while the White House is basically eating itself alive, Congress is moving forward with impeachment proceedings. Democrats are demanding unredacted Epstein files. Judges are holding Trump in contempt over the shutdown situation. Every crisis is feeding into every other crisis. Let me walk you through exactly what is happening and why it matters so much. First, you need to understand the context. The president has been dealing with multiple fires at once. The DHS situation is a disaster. Federal judges are telling him he is violating constitutional rights. Congress is talking impeachment. And then the Epstein files start becoming public. That is when everything spirals completely out of control. Attorney General Pam Bondi was supposed to be handling this. She was briefed on the Epstein files. She knew Trump's name was connected to them. And instead of managing the situation carefully, instead of having a transparency and damage control strategy, it seems like there was some kind of cover-up happening. At least that is what everyone is claiming right now. Look, if you are an administration and you know that sensitive documents that could embarrass the president are about to become public, you want to control the narrative. You want to prepare statements. You want to get ahead of it with your own messaging. That is normal politics. That is standard stuff. But that is not what happened here. What happened was messy and chaotic and obviously panicked. Someone leaked the files. Maybe multiple people leaked them. Maybe they became public through some legal process nobody expected. We do not know the exact mechanism. But suddenly people are reading about Trump and Epstein connections. And suddenly Trump is panicking, posting on social media, calling his staff, issuing orders. And the orders are simple. Fire anyone who knows about these files. Fire anyone who was reviewing them. Fire anyone who might leak more. It is a purge. He is trying to cover his tracks by eliminating the people who could expose him. And here is the thing that most people do not understand. The Epstein stuff is bad for Trump's image. It is embarrassing. It is not ideal optics. But the real danger is not the scandal itself. The real danger is that he is in the middle of an impeachment fight. Congress is investigating him. Federal judges are looking at his conduct. And if Congress gets unredacted Epstein files, if they see everything that is in those documents, they have ammunition, they have evidence, they have things they can use during impeachment hearings. That is why he is firing people. That is why he is going after the staffers who have been reviewing these files. He is trying to limit who has access to the information. He is trying to make sure the most damaging stuff does not make it to Congress. He is trying to control the flow of information and keep it contained. Think about it from his perspective for a second. You are in the middle of an impeachment fight. Your administration is on unstable ground. People are questioning your legitimacy, and suddenly documents surface that could be used as evidence against you in congressional hearings. Your first instinct is not let us be transparent and cooperate with Congress. Your first instinct is let us fire everyone who knows about this. Let us delete emails. Let us make sure the files stay classified. Let us do whatever we have to do to keep this contained. But here is where it gets even more complicated. The people Trump fired were not random staffers. They were the specific people who had been coordinating with the DOJ, reviewing the Epstein documents, briefing Bondi, handling the legal strategy. They were the people in the loop, the people who knew things. So when Trump fires them, he is not just covering his tracks. He is also creating massive operational chaos. He is gutting his own administration's ability to function. He is making his legal situation worse because now Congress is going to ask why he fired those specific people. What was he trying to hide? What was so damaging in those files that he would rather shut down his own government than let anyone see them? That brings us to the impeachment angle. Trump is already facing impeachment over the DHS shutdown situation. Federal judges have issued contempt orders. Democrats are building a case that this is abuse of power. Presidential overreach, unconstitutional behavior. That is already enough to get him impeached. But then on top of that, you add the Epstein files, the cover-up allegations, the firing of the staff members who were handling the documents. Suddenly, you have not just one impeachment angle. You have multiple angles converging. Obstruction of justice, potential witness tampering if he is firing people who could testify about the Epstein files, destruction of evidence if people are deleting emails or files, abuse of power because he is using his position as president to cover up scandals. Democrats are already calling for Trump to release the full, completely unredacted Epstein files. No redactions, no editing, everything, because they want to see what he is trying so desperately to hide. And Trump is basically refusing. He is sending mixed signals. Some files can be released, others cannot. Some stuff is too sensitive for national security. Other stuff is protected by executive privilege. And meanwhile, he is firing the people who could explain what is actually in those files and why certain parts might be sensitive. You can see the trap he is in. The more Trump tries to cover this up, the guiltier he looks. The more he fires people and creates chaos, the more it looks like he is panicking. The more Congress looks at his actions, the more ammunition they have for impeachment. It is a spiral. And here is what most people are missing. Trump is destroying his own credibility and his own political position in real time. A lot of Republicans are getting nervous. They are thinking, okay, we can handle a lot of stuff. We can handle the legal battles, we can handle the scandals, we can handle the controversy. But if you are running the White House like a dictatorship, firing people left and right because you do not like them or because they know too much, that is going to turn off moderates. That is going to give Democrats actual ammunition. That is going to make it harder for us to defend you on Capitol Hill. Speaker Johnson is already worried about this. He is trying to manage his own caucus, trying to keep Republicans unified behind Trump during impeachment. And then Trump goes and pulls something like this. It is self-sabotage. It is like Trump is working against his own administration. Let me break this down into the key points because there is a ton happening and it is easy to get lost in the chaos. First, the scale of this is historic. Over 40 staffers fired in a single night. That is not normal. Even by Trump standards, this is extreme. 15 National Security Council people gone, 12 communications staffers gone, 10 legal team members gone. This is the kind of thing that happens in authoritarian governments. This is what a purge actually looks like. And think about what that means operationally for the country. You have a government already in crisis mode because of the DHS shutdown. Airports are having major security problems. Congress is in session debating impeachment. Federal judges are issuing orders and contempt rulings. And instead of having a functional White House that can respond to these crises quickly and competently, you have a White House that is imploding. Communications chaos, legal confusion, people running around trying to figure out who is actually in charge and what the strategy even is anymore. This is bad, not just for Trump, but for the country. Because when the White House does not function properly, actual government does not function. Problems do not get solved. And enemies, foreign and domestic, they see that weakness and they exploit it immediately. The motive is totally clear. Trump fired these people because he is panicking about the Epstein files. That is it. That is the primary motivation, and he is not hiding it very well. He is posting on Truth Social in all caps about rat infestations and leakers. He is literally saying he is emptying the swamp. He is clearly freaked out that information is getting out that he does not want public. And instead of handling it with any kind of sophistication or strategy, he is just swinging a sledgehammer at everyone around him. The people he fired were not his enemies. Some of them had been loyal to him for years. Caroline Leavitt was a Trump loyalist. She was supposed to defend him. Susie Wiles was basically Trump's right hand. He trusted her more than almost anyone else in the White House. And he fired her anyway because he is in panic mode, because he thinks she might leak something. Or maybe she told him something he did not want to hear about the Epstein situation. Or maybe she just knew too much about what is really in those files. That is the scary part for other staffers right now. If Trump will fire Susie Wiles, one of his most trusted people, then nobody is safe anymore. Everybody is terrified. Everybody is watching what they say. Everybody is worried that they might know the wrong thing and suddenly find themselves out on the street. The legal consequences are going to be massive. Democrats are already building an obstruction obstruction of justice case. They are saying Trump fired these people specifically to cover up his involvement with Epstein, to suppress evidence, to prevent Congress from seeing unredacted files, and to intimidate potential witnesses from talking. And he kind of did those things. Those are literally the actions he took. In an impeachment proceeding, those are exactly the kinds of actions that Congress cares about. Because impeachment is not necessarily about whether you did something illegal in a criminal sense. Impeachment is about whether you abused your power, whether you undermined the Constitution, whether you put yourself above the law. And Trump firing staffers to suppress evidence and block Congress from getting documents, that is textbook abuse of power. That is exactly the kind of thing impeachment was designed to handle. Democrats are going to use this. They are going to build it into their impeachment case. They are going to say, look, Trump is destroying his own administration to cover up scandals. He is firing people who work for him because they might know too much. He is blocking Congress from seeing evidence. This is a president who thinks he is above the law, and some Republicans are going to have a really hard time defending this. You can defend Trump's policies, you can defend his style, you can defend his aggressive tactics, but defending the idea that a president should be able to fire people to cover up scandals and block Congress from seeing evidence, that is a much bigger constitutional problem. The political fallout is already starting, and it is going to get worse. In the immediate term, Trump's White House is going to be dysfunctional. He needs to fill 40 positions. That will take time and create confusion about who is actually in charge. His administration is not running smoothly. His communications are chaos because half the communication staff is gone. His legal strategy is unclear because the legal people are gone. Nobody knows what the actual plan is anymore. In Congress, Democrats are going to weaponize this situation. They are going to demand the unredacted files immediately. They are going to call the fired staffers to testify. They are going to ask them why the president fired you. What files were you reviewing? What were you about to discover? What was so damaging that it got you fired? And those staffers, many of them, are going to cooperate. They are not going to protect Trump. They are going to be bitter about getting fired unfairly. They are going to tell Congress everything they know. And that is going to create more problems for Trump legally and politically. Republicans, meanwhile, are going to be nervous. Some are going to start distancing themselves from Trump. Some are going to be quiet and hope this blows over. Some are going to try to defend him publicly, but they are not going to be enthusiastic about it. The damage is already done. The image of Trump as a strong, competent leader who knows what he is doing, that is cracking. He looks desperate. He looks like he is panicking. He looks like someone who is guilty of something and trying to cover it up. The Epstein stuff is not going away. Even if Trump manages to contain it for a while, even if he prevents the full unredacted files from being released immediately, people are already talking about it. Journalists are investigating. Congress is preparing subpoenas. And every time Trump makes a move to suppress the information, it just confirms everyone's suspicion that he is trying to hide something really bad. So what comes next? Probably more chaos, more firings, more legal battles, more impeachment proceedings moving forward faster than anyone expected, and probably at some point, a full release of the Epstein files because Congress is going to demand it and they have the power to make it happen through subpoenas. Trump is in a box. The more he tries to control the situation, the more out of control it becomes. The more he tries to suppress information, the more people want to see it. The more desperate he looks, the guiltier he looks. He is basically guaranteeing that the Epstein files are going to become fully public at some point. He is basically guaranteeing that Congress is going to investigate every connection, every flight, every interaction between him and Epstein. And that is going to be bad, really bad. Not just for his political future, but potentially for his legal future too. Because if the files contain evidence of criminal activity, if they show illegal connections or illegal behavior, then we are not just talking about impeachment and political consequences. We are talking about actual criminal exposure, prosecutions. This is just the beginning. There are more files coming. There are more people who are going to talk once they realize Trump is turning on them. There are more investigations that are going to happen, and every single one of them is going to be fueled by the fact that Trump tried to cover this up and fire people to do it. Every investigation is going to ask why he fired those specific people. Every hearing is going to feature former staffers testifying about what was happening behind the scenes. So buckle up. This is going to get worse before it gets better. Way worse. The White House is in complete chaos, and the man in charge is the one who lit the match.